Mediocre Rumble Brothers. Three, two, one.
All right, welcome to Mediocre Rumble Brothers. I'm Jordan, your host, and today we're going to be talking about the special Gears of War that came for the 360. Before we get started, make sure that you subscribe on our YouTube channel and follow us on Rumble. Since this is going to be a special episode, I'm going to be handing it off to Udon to take us through. Go ahead, Udon.
Alrighty, so overview this time Gears of War, and we didn't change at the last second this time. So Gears of War, a game developed by Epic Games, the Epic Games that made Fortnite and now are kind of like Steam, and the fact they're just kind of sitting pretty on top of that in their Epic store. Designed by Cliff Bleszinski, either famous or infamous within the gaming sphere, whether, basically on personal perception of the man. Released on the Xbox 360 and Windows. Xbox on November 7th, Windows on November 6th Xbox 360 November 7th, 2006, and then a year later on November 6th onto Windows. And as of right now, that hasn't been ported to anything else. The remaster was still an exclusive, but with that one, it seems to be going to be ported to PlayStation and other systems. And then not recently, we quite funnily actually, not too soon after we decided to start playing this, there was announced that they're having like a whole remake of the first Gears of War that's also probably going to be multi-platform. But yeah, Gears of War used to be, we haven't really had a new Gears game in years, but used to be one of Xbox's like bigger exclusive titles on the system. And that and Halo 3 were like two of the heaviest hitters on the original Xbox 360. It is a third-person shooter, mainly focused on cover shooting. I think this game's big claim to fame is its like innovation to cover mechanics in a shooting game. But this is an overview, so I can try and give you guys a little bit of a plot as we go along. We're kind of just going to talk about the game as it goes in order, and we'll just sit here and talk about, what we liked and disliked about the game, be it plot, characters, gameplay, mostly gameplay in a game like this, and what happened when we went through it, and then probably give a rating at the end of everything. So, Gears of War holds a special place in my heart because I think I remember when I was a child, it was very much, for whatever reason, it was like a Halo versus Gears of War thing, and I'm like, nah, Halo's better. And then my friend Blake invited me over to his house, and we were playing Halo 3 at the time. He was like, try Gears of War. I'm like, I don't want to try Gears of War. That game's stupid, even though I had literally no idea what the game was. And he finally let me play it, or forced me to play it, rather. And I really enjoyed it. It was a really cool game. Small kid, but I mean, it's like blood and guts, yay! I get to shoot them and their heads explode. This is awesome. This is way more violent than Halo is.
Right. Yeah.
But it's kind of funny because I have a lot of nostalgia for Gears of War. I love the series. As of right now, I've actually played every mainline game. It took me a little while to get around to 4 and 5. But I had Game Pass for a while, and I just randomly decided, like, I'm going to try these. Those don't have the best reputation, but I didn't think they were bad. It's a game series that seems pretty, consistent in quality so far through the main series of games. But when we went back to play this, I kept, because, and not only that, it was also a great co-op game, as games back then tend to be. Split screen experience, really good. So I recruited my friend Tim to help play through co-op with me. And it's funny because at the beginning of it, I was like, oh, is this the one where you go, we get swallowed by a worm and then we have to cut our way out of it? Or, oh, we're going to fight the Lambent, rebels at some point when they're going to rebel against the Locusts and like all this other stuff. And I realized as we were playing through the game, none of that happens in this first game. In fact, like I barely remembered anything about this first game outside of like the last boss fight. Like the whole game, I was like, oh, I forgot about this. Oh, I forgot about this. So it was almost like replaying almost a new game over again because I genuinely forgot a lot of the shit that happened in it. But I guess before we get started, I guess everyone else can share their thoughts on Gears of War if they have any history with it. Just go ahead. Whoever wants to go first.
I mean, I've played Gears. I've only played Gears 1, 2, and 3. Just because I didn't have a newer Xbox after 360. I kind of just didn't buy Xboxes for ever, I guess, until Edwin actually gifted me the, what is it, a 1X or whatever their naming convention is. So that's what I ended up playing the original Gears on when we went through this. I believe I played Gears 1 with Jordan the first time for split screen.
Yes.
Um, yeah, and that game was huge in my friend circle. Like we all played it. The split screen part was really cool. The online was really fun, and we engaged with that often. That was kind of like our go-to between playing, Call of Duty or Call of Duty, Halo 2, and Gears of War. There was constant rotation for our online play. Uh, I thought this series was cool. I did enjoy playing through the first game, and getting a chance to go back and play it after damn near 20 years, and seeing the remake. I kind of want to get the remake. I'm not going to like lose sleep if I don't get it right away, but I would like to play it just to see the quality of life changes and stuff that they added to it over, because I haven't played any of the newer ones, so it's probably just going to be mechanics from whatever 5 is. But it would be nice to play through like a full, like, fresh paint job of the game after playing through it with Edwin this time around, because I I had a lot of fun playing it. I thought the controls were, they have some jank, but I guess Edwin can talk more about that because he's never played it before, I believe.
No, the only game that I've actually played in the Gears of War series is Gears of War 2, only because when I think it was on either 360 or Xbox One, where they had it for free as a monthly game, and I never played it. I just hear a lot of people talk about it. But yeah, it was in Xbox One X that I gifted you, that you only use for that one because it doesn't run backwards compatibly for the other games that you wanted to play. But I don't really have a large history. I've only heard talks about the Gears of War saga. The only one I played was 2, and I actually had the same thought as you, Udon, where it's like, oh, we're gonna fight the worm in this one. Where it's like, I didn't know, I forgot which one I did play, but I do remember the worm, like just cutting up the worm on the inside. So it's like, oh, I guess it was a second one, but
Yeah.
I think I have most of the series, because I think they were really popular. That ended up being, they ended up putting more Gears games on the monthly free games. So but I just never really had any intention of playing them. I just wanted to have them, like, in case I ever wanted to play them in the future.
And I mean, I personally have been, like, I probably say this a million times, like a broken record, but I was a PlayStation fanboy and really did not have any intent to want to play any Xbox games whatsoever, even though the 360 was at the very end when I got to it was doing very well. Had got the PS3, didn't want nothing to do with it, but I remember seeing the trailer that Corey had played, because back then, when it was like, you were kind of like the Blockbuster with Xbox 360, having all those trailers, giving you the opportunity to even try them out, play the demos before you bought them. Seeing that trailer where you're basically just running down and he's just shooting all these aliens and stuff, and it's playing that really calming music. It was really kind of nice to see that, and I was like, okay, well, this is definitely different. There's a lot of guts going on, so let's see what really happens. And then I was introduced to it when Corey got the game. Could not put it down. It was just consistently just onslaught of murder just going on through, and I was playing so much of the online, even though there was like no real like ranking system. I don't believe you just shot and killed all the time, 2-on-2 or whatever. And I just couldn't get enough of that, and that basically kind of brought me on to want to get a 360 myself, because it was just all the other different games that were coming out. But Gears of War, I was just hooked. The whole story was pretty awesome. I liked the idea that it was, basically just Doomsday all on its own with an invasion that was just different than a lot of games that I've been usually playing. So it was one for being a third person, which I never really enjoyed at first. I was more of a first person because of, what Udon was talking about with Halo. I was playing Halo all the time on Xbox, and first person was like my go-to. So being third person, I was really kind of hesitant about it, but eventually I ended up falling in love with it, and ended up playing more of just the Gears 1 and 2 and whatever. But yeah, Gears of 1, I was
Gears
of 1, yeah. Gears of War, I couldn't stop it. It was too damn good.
And
Yeah,
I guess,
so go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, quick side note for the Gears franchise. Like, the online was really fun, but we put a lot of hours in the horde mode that they introduced in the second one.
Yeah,
That
I think
horde mode was
everyone
so
did. I
fun.
mean, I
Yeah,
feel like Gears popularized that kind of mode of play of just like, here's a map and we're just going to throw things at you until you lose.
yeah.
And a lot of games ran with that.
It was just so fun to just see how far you can go.
Yeah, well, I mean, I played a lot of Gears of War 2. I loved Firefight and Halo, and they're going to add a Horde mode in Space Marine 2 here soon that I'm looking forward to. So, it's just something that's, like I said, I don't know. I can't say for sure if they, created that concept, but they definitely popularized it, I feel.
Yeah,
Was it not like
But
COD Zombies or anything?
I mean, COD Zombies kind of similar. It would be. I think it's because the Horde mode is still the core gameplay, and COD Zombies is like almost a separate game in and of itself.
yeah.
Um,
Like, there's no real objective in horde mode outside of just survive.
yeah. Um, but anyways, to get back to Gears One,
Yeah.
so and I mean, we all have pretty positive experiences with it. Bar Edwin, who is just being introduced to the first one at least, and the general public seemed to agree because when this game came out, it was like 9 out of 10s across the board from like everyone. Everyone loved it. One of the best-selling Xbox games, and like I said, it was rivaling Halo in terms of popularity for the longest time, and so until it kind of like petered out by the third one. Um, but to get us rolling, we'll just start with the beginning of the game and go through it. So you play as Marcus Phoenix, kind of a badass motherfucker who's voiced by Joe DiMaggio, who does Bender and Jake the Dog, which I only recently found out, and I can't believe I didn't realize that.
And Waka and Kimari in Final Fantasy X, which that also blew my mind.
It's Adventure
But,
Time, bitches.
The man is a great voice actor and really brings Marcus to life, just being this gritty, just no nonsense soldier. And if you have a player two, you play as Dom, who, I mean, in the first game, Dom's just kind of his friend. We don't really know a lot about Dom. Again, weirdly enough, Dom and the whole shit about his wife doesn't even get it's hinted at, but you don't even learn about it until the second game. Like none of that happens until the second game. But anyways, so in the beginning of the game, Dom breaks you out of prison. Marcus was imprisoned for, we're not really even told why. It's just kind of alluded to he did some war crimes or some shit in a past life, but shit's so bad that we need everyone they can. So Dom, his buddy, breaks him out of prison. And the synopsis of Gears is kind of this. This is not Earth. This is a planet called Sarah. It's kind of like a parallel to Earth sort of thing, but it's not supposed to be Earth. And instead of aliens invading from the sky, we have basically the equivalent of mole people taking over the world. So we have these locust dudes, these nasty bug grub, they're called grubs, and it's kind of really an appropriate term for how they look. Nasty little motherfuckers that will just burrow out of the ground and are just like warrantedly slaughtering humanity to the point where we're on the brink of extinction, essentially. And they're really hard to fight against because they live in the earth and like giant tunnels beneath the earth, so we can't like invade them very well, but they can pop out of the ground almost anywhere. So the main point of the game is that Don recruits Marcus to help them basically fire a big ass, called a light mass bomb. It's to destroy the locust. It's a really simplistic plot for the entire game. Again, I thought the plot for the first game was more than this, especially how much lore, like expansive lore, this series gets later. But for this first installment, it is really bare bones. So Dom breaks you out and you're introduced to the cover system where basically any like solid piece of the environment can be used as cover, where Marcus will snap to it and either crouch behind it or like stand up beside it. And basically the entire game is based on taking cover and picking your opportunities to fire back, because if you stand in the open and shoot at people, you're going to get cut down like immediately. It is all about cover in this game. But you make your way out of the prison, which is basically just one big tutorial area, and you get to introduced to Lieutenant Hoffman, who's, just your kind of stereotypical gruff, superior who's like, I don't like you, Phoenix, and Phoenix is like, yeah, well, fuck you. And it's exaggeration, but I am genuinely not far away from how the actual conversation goes. So basically, Marcus is thrown onto a squad with another guy. I think his name was Kim, Lieutenant Kim or whatever, is in charge of the squad. And the famous Kim, who everyone definitely remembers, and he is not forgotten at all.
Yeah.
But So it's before we can plant the light mass bomb, they need this thing called a resonator, which basically essentially maps out the tunnels and tells you where you should plant the bomb. So that's your first objective. Go get the resonator. Um, so in really it's like it's hard to describe, but I mean you're planted at this point and you know where the resonator is, and you have to go from point A to point B, constantly fighting hordes of locusts that will pop out of the ground. And there's mechanics like when if they pop out of a hole in the ground, you can throw a grenade in there to stop them from spawning. Otherwise, you're gonna have to fight a lot more of them before they'll stop spawning. Um, but that's the basic setup for the game. Before I get more into the game mechanics, I mean, because the story is like so light, I just want to touch on it briefly since I know a lot of us are going to have a lot to say about it. But I did get somewhat involved in the Gears lore. I did read a few books that came out after the fact. And like I said, in Gears 2 and 3, they definitely go a lot farther in terms of like expanding the characters and like the world and how it all came to be. But in this first game, it is really bare bones, but I think it's to like its advantage because it gets the player like into the world very fast. It's like, this is what's happening. We're getting fucked up. Here's a gun. Go kill shit. You need the big bomb to kill the bad guy. So as far I know Jordan already kind of alluded to it when you're giving your thoughts on it, generally speaking, but how does everyone feel about like the characters and the setting for like this and just like the story dressing that goes with the game?
I mean, usually people use the phrase like it's a product of its time in almost a negative way, but I feel like we could say that about this in a positive way. Like it's such a no bullshit, like cool guns. The game knows exactly what it's about. It's just some nonsensical violence shooter here, like yeah, like have some beers and shoot some aliens, kind of thing. And that's I think what I really enjoy about it is it's not trying to be overly complicated. It's just straight into the action, popcorn flick kind of like plot line. And I think that's what made it really fun is you just kind of dive right in there and you're just even the characters, the way they talk to each other is kind of the same thing where they're just like fuck off, that kind of shit. Everybody's gruff, everybody's like way too macho, and it's just all the guns are huge, the armor is crazy.
Yeah, this game was very edgy. And it's kind of funny too, and maybe it's just me being exposed to a lot of Warhammer, especially recently with Space Marines, but I remember Marcus looking a lot bigger than he does in the original version. Like, everyone always says how meat-headed the characters look in the original Gears, but I'm just like, he doesn't look that big. I mean, granted, I'm comparing him to a fucking super soldier, but I mean, like, I remember him being a lot bigger than he was.
I mean, seeing them, like, the group of them standing together, and there wasn't really anything to really compare them to before, so it was just, like, linebackers with guns, basically. And, funnily enough, one of the characters is a sport, like...
The Coltrane!
I don't know what sport they're playing. I guess it's football, but it's called something else or whatever.
Yeah, it's called Thrash Ball. Like I said, it's like, it's a parallel to Earth, but it's not. So they have the same shit, but it's called something different.
What a cool name.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And the way you described it, I thought it was like another planet that's like Earth. I didn't know it was like a different type of humanity.
Yeah, no, it is not Earth. This is just
alternate
not
reality
Earth.
type thing.
Okay.
Yeah, they stated in the beginning that this is the invasion of Sarah. Like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, the way I thought it was like, oh, it's just like another, because I was comparing it to Halo, where it's just like, oh, the first planet to be attacked by the Covenant was not Earth, it was Reach. It was like, oh, it's like the same situation here. It's like, no, that's their Earth. They're like, oh, okay, well, I guess like when they said like humanity is like at the edge of extinction, I was just thinking, it was like, don't you have you like inhabited other planets or anything? Are they all being attacked at once, or is this like super late in the war?
Yeah, the Gear Society is advanced, but they're not a spacefaring society. And I'm going to push up my nerd glasses right quick. Reach was not the first planet attack, the Covenant attack. That was the first significant. Like, the reason why Reach is significant is it was a super like military stronghold. The first planet that was attacked in Halo was called Harvest.
Okay, yeah, I was like, I don't remember. I don't remember that name.
You literally wouldn't know unless you read the book.
Yeah, I mean, I did read one book, but like as you said, like about Gears being like very straightforward and not super complicated. In the beginning of Gears like happened very quickly. It was like, oh, it's a super quick explanation, and then break Marcus out. It was like, all right, time to play the game. It was like, I still don't know what the context of this moment. So it's like it just there's
What do you need
barely
context for?
tutorial.
Here's a gun.
Yeah, I know. It's like that's pretty much how it went.
You've been
and
pardoned.
Don't kill the context.
Yeah, you've been pardoned.
Yeah,
Go
and
kill.
Just shooting at you.
Shoot
I
everybody
know,
that's
but-
not
but-
glowing blue.
I know, but it's like for me, it was like I like rarely played like any Gears of War, and like Halo is just like a lot of politics and like military talk and all that. It was just like, damn, this is just like, here's a gun, go shoot. So it's like I just found that very funny because like I did read the Halo the thick book of Halo Reach, so it's just like I barely understood like any of the stuff that happened in there. I feel like if I read the Gears one, it would make a bit more sense because it's so straightforward. But the tutorial was I barely thought it was a tutorial because it's like everything just happened so quickly. The tutorial boxes just like went away fairly quickly. So for the first like several minutes or like an hour, I was wondering, I was like, how do I take cover? This seems very important with all the bullets flying everywhere. So it was very annoying later on because I could not stop getting into cover because there's no button press. It's just like you move to cover and he automatically does it. So I'm like running back and forth over the barrier just to like get shot right in the open. So I mean the controls were janky, as Corey said before, but I mean everything was like pretty linear and easy to understand. So it was like definitely like a man game. So I just found it really cool. I just found it really cool. It's like I understand why people like this. I just don't like the fact of I just don't like the fact that the game was fucking shorter than Mass Effect.
Man's game. It's like,
Well, it's not an RPG. There's not a lot of talking. Yeah, it's a manly man. It's nice and dumbed down for the big dumb men like us, so we can just shoot stuff.
it's the Predator meme. The two bros.
Yeah.
Son of a
Son of a
bitch.
I think the biggest jank complaint I have of like the gameplay is the notorious I'm stuck between the fucking door and the other side of the door where I keep bouncing between it instead of walking through it. Because if you're running and he auto locks to like take cover instead of go
Just
through the
back
door,
up. Don't go forward. Back up.
Yeah, I
like, can you just move?
Yeah, I mean, I did have a couple instances, but I did like the auto locking to getting to cover because I did know that there'd be some times where if I wasn't actually getting close enough to it, I could see myself just running past it by accident, especially when they're doing that low run. I'm like, oh shit! And I gotta try to turn a little bit. He's like, oh, lock, grab to the corner. I'm like, oh, thank God, because I was like getting my ass shot off. And going through the tutorial, I really do appreciate it when they give you the option. Do you want to get your ass killed really quickly if you want to do it this way, or do you really want to be safe and take the training? It's like, no, let's go in there and let's go fucking do it because I already played it before. So you kind of feel like is some replayability that they want to give you that option. So I'm like, okay, that's cool because I did like that I didn't have to redo all that shit, so I could just jump right into the fray and get right into it. Seeing some big ass dudes, and the fact that they had that chainsaw gun, which was also really nice. It was
Lancer.
Yeah, it was just like it was a different change of pace because there's always usually shooting, but there was actually some melee that was incorporated with it, which was awesome. So you could literally it made you want to do more than just take fire and shoot. It would literally give you that, like, I really want to climb over there and fucking just chainsaw the guy, or I want to hit him with my pistol whip, or I want to smack him with the spike grenade and watch him explode. It's like an instant kill. So it made you want to do more things than just be long range, which I really did enjoy about it.
Yeah, the level design overall was pretty decent. And it's funny because of the type of game it is, so you always know where a firefight's happening because all of the stuff is conveniently placed evenly around as cover. So you're like, oh, here we go.
Since we're bleeding into gameplay, I might as well talk about it then. So yeah, the gameplay loop of this game, as Corey just said, basically you're going to just come across a bunch of different set pieces, cover in various configurations. You automatically know when locusts are probably going to start popping out of the ground based on what you're looking at. And the game is basically just like, here's a set piece, here's some locusts, you kill them, you move on. You probably have like a brief breather to where you probably have to listen to Marcus or Dom talk to someone on the comm system for like a minute or something while you grab ammo and other stuff. Then you move on to the next set piece, kill some more dudes, rinse and repeat until the level's over. Now, the gameplay itself, well, I don't really agree that the controls were jank. I think what's jank is actually some of the gameplay a little bit because funnily enough, as I realized as I was playing the game again, again, lack of guns from the other games that I remembered weren't a thing in this one. Headshots are not really a thing in this game unless you're using a revolver or a sniper rifle, because everything else is like a fully automatic gun, but getting headshots in this game without a sniper rifle means very little.
Yeah.
You're mainly just
I mean,
pumping.
I kind of noticed when like the head actually explodes when using one
Yeah,
of those.
I guess my point difference that is that, like, in Halo, you shoot a grunt in the head, it dies. You shoot a jackal in the head, it dies. You get the elite shields down, you shoot him in the head, it dies. You shoot a locust in the head with anything but a sniper rifle or maybe a lucky revolver shot, it'll just like eat the bullets, chew them up, and spit them out. It's like, and you just have to keep shooting at him until there's more lead than brain.
Yeah,
So it's
the
kind of
locust.
good.
Oh, I was gonna say the locust basically whenever I remember playing the game was shoot them in the legs, just always shoot them in the legs because of the way they move and like you're aiming down, especially with like the shotgun. It's just because of the scatter fire you get the most mass because shooting them in their tiny little heads is more likely going to miss, and it doesn't matter as much when like you're saying because yeah you don't really get to there's no real ADS except for the sniper rifle, and then the reticle for the revolver is small enough to where if you let it sink in and you hit them, but they're so quick that the revolver being cool is kind of not necessarily the best weapon choice to have as a secondary.
Yeah, I mean, I used it because I genuinely liked it getting headshots off to insta kill Locust since it's such a big win because otherwise it takes a lot of bullets to put one down. I mean, me and Tim were playing on I guess the equivalent of heroic, I suppose, or normal. Or no, I guess we were playing on normal. I think is what we discovered. Is I like in the past as kids, I'm like, did we ever play on this anything but like casual? And we realized we didn't. This is the first time I play on normal. It wasn't that bad. We definitely died more than once, 10 times, 20 times, something. We got through it. But I did find it frustrating using like something like the iconic Lancer, which I'll talk about in a second. But like stuff like the Lancer, not only is its crosshair very large, like its bloom is kind of crazy, so the point is just to unload bullets into the dude. But when it takes like two full mags to put one guy down, it doesn't feel that great. Like the time to kill is really long unless you get a headshot or you like eviscerate them with a shotgun at close range. Um, and I don't know. They do a little bit better as the Gears games go on. They add more weapons and I think in general the time to kill is lower as the games go on.
Yes.
Again, I could be crazy. Yeah,
No,
I definitely feel like it is.
You are, because I actually played some this morning. I actually played a little bit of Gears of War 2. The gunfire way more accurate, and you can put them down way faster than you did in the first one. It feels a way lot better. So the second one I love it way more than the first one because it's just how much more accurate and more damage you do.
I think as a series, maybe one day we'll do Gears 2 because I love that game too. But like Gears 2 is definitely one of those instances where the sequel is better than the original, and just because they built upon everything that they had and just made it overall better. But so the time to kill in the first one's a bit long. There's not a lot of ways to insta kill people outside of sniping stuff or grenades or whatever. One of the fun things about this game that's really unique to Gears, and quite frankly, I find it funny that I haven't really seen any other games do something like this, was the active reload function.
Yeah.
So when you reload any gun in this game, basically you have a quick time event to where you have to press the reload button again on a certain like little reticle to instantly like reload your weapon a lot faster. And not only you reload your weapon faster, but your bullets in that mag do more damage. But if you fail, you don't get the damage boost, and it takes even longer to reload. And you do that every single time you reload.
Gun jam.
But yeah, and but it's really satisfying. I mean, it's something you're constantly doing. And it's just really fun. It's just a fun little mechanic. So reloading isn't just like dead air. So the game in this game you're like almost constantly doing something. Very little. The game gives you very little downtime. It is like all action all the time, outside of very very short sequences of just like walking and talking about something brief, and then you can get into the next part of the level. That being said, fuck, I wanted to say something else about the reload, but I forgot. Oh well, maybe it'll come back to me. But then the melee system in this game, kind of blows. And you really don't want to be meleeing people a whole lot. A gun like the Lancer, which again, Lancer is iconic to Gears. It's the main assault rifle weapon because it has its famous chainsaw bayonet. Not, it's the Temu version of a Space Marine's chainsword, but I mean, it's a chainsaw, so it's fucking cool. And that'll insta-kill an enemy. But running up to melee him with that is usually going to get you killed more often than not.
Yeah, because it's jank and it barely works half the time.
It works, and some of the time it works all the time.
You have to cook it before it actually works. You can't just tap B or whatever to pistol whip with the Lancer. You have to start the chainsaw and then I think hold it, right? And then he will do it.
And the thing is,
you didn't tell me that.
I think the designers kind of knew that though, because there's like kind of like an inspiration of like Halo, not really inspiration, but in parallel to Halo. I'm going to compare this a lot to Halo because that was the thing that was next to it at the time and when I was really into Gears. But there's a lot of enemy variety. You have the regular grubs that all come in different shapes and sizes depending on what kind of guns they're using, like the dickheads with the shotguns that have absolutely no fucking life preservation skills and just charge at you. Yeah. But then you have the small ones, the little monkey looking guys whose name I'm
Wretches?
forgetting. Yeah,
Yes,
the wretches.
Yep.
So you have
shit.
plenty of opportunities to fight the wretches, and I think the designers specifically meant for them to be the ones where you kind of go butt fuck sluts go nuts crazy with your chainsaw because they just run at you. So you just have to stand there with your chainsaw out, and they will just walk into death. But it's at a time where you're just like chainsaw. The game loves making you feel cool. And now I remember what I wanted to say about the reload. The sound design in this game is really, really good. At least when it comes to a lot of the smaller things, because when you hit that active reload, you get that satisfying like ka-chunk, like really, really good sound effect that it's hard to describe, but it lets you know you did good.
It's that dopamine.
Yeah, it is that dopamine. So that is in general a lot of the gameplay, and you're all doing this from cover and yada yada. And another cool thing that's unique to this game that they always carried over was that anytime a encounter was won, like you beat all the enemies in the area, that you're done, you'll have this sick guitar riff that'll go wah when you're done. So that's like the indicator to signal, okay, you won, you did it, move on. Just really cool. But yeah, so if anyone wants to talk more about the gameplay for right now, just go ahead. I open the floor to everyone else to say something.
Music's really good, like you're saying, the sound design for the gunfire and everything. And then, oddly enough, like this soundtrack is banger. I remember like having it on the playlist for a while too, of just the main theme and other stuff, because it's not just rock music that you kind of pair with games like this. There's just Doom, for example. Like Doom has a dope soundtrack, but it's heavily metal inspired, where this game has got a lot more orchestral like sounds to it, and I think it kind of leans into that pretty well. And it just feels badass when you're playing through everything. That quick reload does feel awesome, and it, like when you nail it and you're in the firefight because you're like just actively shooting and there's a bunch of people and you bounce cover, you go to reload, hit that quick reload, get up, kill that guy again. Like it just feels awesome. It also makes you feel stupid when you miss it and you're just like, crap. And then Marcus lets you know because he's like, God damn it. And like he's just yelling
every single time,
hitting the gun with his hand.
Every single time Tim failed or active reload, he went shit. Dom went shit. Like every single time, they both went shit at the same time.
Yeah, it's just funny though. But the immersion level of the action sequences is really impressive for a game that's 20 years old. Granted, we're on 360. We're not talking about a Super Nintendo game here, but there wasn't really, like you said, a lot of games like this. There are other cover shooters, and this isn't the first one. I mean, some of the older ones, like Winback on 54, was there, but this felt awesome.
Yeah, my theory is that the game definitely had style. The game had a unique look. The game had a unique feel. It was, as Edwin said, it's a manly men game, so it was just like, here's a gun, go fuck some shit. Like, it is like, we are not fucking around right here. It's like, we're not some pussy-ass Master Chief or fucking Marcus Phoenix. I'm going to swear up and down while killing grubs and covered in blood.
I don't know why. I always thought he had a cigar. Like, I always pictured, like, Marcus with a cigar for some reason. I have no idea why, but Maybe
I
there's
don't remember if
another
he
character.
smoked. I don't remember.
Yeah. But like visually, this game also kind of falls into the era of everything is like brown and gray.
Okay, I was gonna get to that, but now that you brought it up, that is probably the one thing I do not like about this game. This game fucking hates color,
Yeah.
to a massive degree. It
Like
is all
Assassin's Creed
just
1.
A lot of
yeah, it's like all
glossiness
just
too.
yeah, it's like all just muddy blacks and grays and browns and like it is just all it's just this is soupy nastiness
Shiny.
of yeah,
There's a
it's
lot
like
of
you might
shiny.
you might get a little bit of green here and there, but it is just like it is all unsaturated, muddy colors of everything.
Or you get some
Yeah.
black because it looks like your skin's trying to relieve your body. Let's just
Oh,
say,
yeah.
get out of the air, okay? I do emulation, so it's just like, yeah, for some weird reason that the game I got,
Oh.
I could not see what you guys could see. I could see like the Matrix, like trying to take my face off because the game just could not figure out what this. And I kind of think what might have happened is there's something going on with the ROMs and how it's just trying to read the emulation because of the amount of glossiness that is on that game. I feel like those parts that are black are the parts where it's super shiny and the computer just cannot figure out what the fuck
Probably
that
reading
is.
the texture
Yeah, it's
information
like
on
I
it.
can't read this
The-
shit. That is shiny shit. Like that shouldn't belong on him.
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it is. So let's black that out. And yeah, half his face is missing. But when you get in the gameplay, everything looks good. When those cutscenes happen, holy shit, it is rough. Like I don't know. So like if you guys see it, I'm pretty sure it looked nice. I got to see it at the very very end of the game, which I won't say. But I did see that the graphics did look still pretty damn good. Being as old as the game is, I was pretty nice with it. But yes, the texture, the color, like very fucking like dark. It's just brown and gray. Like there was just not a lot of life to it, and I was like, oh man, that's kind of rough.
Yeah.
And again,
like,
I feel like it's remedied and the sequels get a bit more colorful and there's just more saturation of things. And as I agree too, because when I was playing, I'm like, this game doesn't look fantastic compared to today's standards, but I mean, it still holds up. Even because I didn't even play because there is a remastered version, but I didn't play that one. I got an original Xbox 360 disc copy and I played it on my Series X, which funnily enough, I remember this game being really stable as far as like glitches and crashes go, but I encountered quite a few glitches that I also shared a few ones when my cover decided to flip into the air and ascend to God, just away from me and left me to die to the krill. Did you actually see that, Jordan? Did you watch that when I sent that in the
No, but I got it now. Oh god.
Yeah, I had never happened to me before, and I think it's because the game is running at a higher frame rate, and sometimes that makes older games do a little fucky wucky when they actually run better. So I just encountered glitches I had never seen before playing the game this time that I had previously.
I got stuck between the like a hole in the ground where they come out from and a breakable object, and I was stuck there until Corey moved on to the next section. I teleported to him.
Yeah, I was like, don't worry, I'll just get to the checkpoint and pull you to me. Yeah, the frame rate stuff affects things when it's doing physics checks, and it might have been made to run at a different frame or check every so often. But yeah, the fucking car flipped into the air. That was pretty funny. I don't know if I think like Edwin was only stuck in the one thing. I don't know if we encountered anything other than that. I mean, the ragdoll stuff is kind of fun because they do the physics of like when the enemies get blown away and they're just kind of like all over the place, or some might fly a little bit funnier than others.
That was my satisfaction with the shotgun.
Yeah, just blow their ass out, and it's pretty. It's just like a mess everywhere. It sounds like you just punched a bowl of Jello, and they're just body parts all over the place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like I said, visually, I don't think the game's bad looking. I think it's a bit muddy, but I mean that's just texture density on the models at the time. But the remake makes it look really nice. So that's kind of why I'm intrigued in seeing that.
Yeah, like everything design wise looks nice. It's just like same issue as Assassin's Creed 1. It looks nice, but it's like devoid of color. It's not like super vivid, but I mean, I guess I can say it was like I guess it matches for like the hell that is going on. So it's like everything's just like dreary and sad. I mean, it's like a fucking war. So I mean, it fits. Just like if everything's too colorless, just paint it all in red, all with your enemy's blood. But
Yeah.
like one like the controls, like as you said, like they're fine, but like there's like some jank to it, and like some things like I would prefer not having that is like the issues. The reload is like an interesting choice to minigame to put in, but a lot of times, since it's the only one that really does that, I constantly forget because no other game that I played where you shoot things has that mechanic. So I constantly forget that I have to do that in Gears. So I messed it up if I don't like look at it. I try to like remember just to time it. And then the other one is just their I'm about to take a shit run. I was like, I hate that because the camera pans down and it just covers more of the screen. So it just
Well,
it just annoys me.
It's funny about that run though is that it's if you actually watch the character go, they barely move faster than their normal like running like their walking speed. It seems like you're going way faster than you are because the fact that the camera goes down and it's kind of like shaking, it's kind of like stimulating going really fast, but ultimately I think it's only like a 1.2 or 3% faster,
Yeah. I think
it's
it's the
really not that
FOV
much.
change in the camera that kind
Yeah.
of pulls the camera, and you're like, "Oh man, look at how cool this is." But that run, the camera shake is pretty rough. And oddly enough, it's not that bad when you're playing the campaign solo, but when you're playing it split screen, there's not a lot of visual like vertical visuals, and since Marcus is so fucking wide, you just you can only see things coming from the left and right of the screen, but if you need to check above you, that's when you're just like constantly aiming up just to check and see if there's enemies. And then when you're doing the crouch run, it's like I can't see where I'm going most of the time, but it's okay.
Mm-hmm. But so yeah, that's the main gameplay loop. So the first this game's divided into five acts. The game's fairly short. I think most of us got through it in like 7 hours. It really isn't that long at all. Um, but the first act of the game, basically, as I said, you're Marcus Phoenix is part of a new squad. You have to go get this thing called the Resonator. After fighting through a bunch of locusts, you finally get to the Resonator. A couple notable encounters on the way. I believe it was in this first level. You fight the Berserker in this first act, I think, right? I mean, the Berserker is a really this is besides the last boss fight. This is a thing that I do remember from this game because the Berserker was like a really unique encounter because this is like basically invincible locust until you do a certain thing to them. But the fun thing is that they're blind, so they only respond to sound. But so you're trying to like creep around this big ass fucking lumbering monstrosity, but God help you if you make a wrong noise or move too fast, and that just charges right at you and will like instantly down you. Then you get this
funny content.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Then you get this cool weapon called the Hammer of Dawn, which is basically like a satellite laser that you have access to, and you're only allowed to use that at very certain points in the game.
It is in Act
but it is
1.
fun to use.
Yeah, it is in Act 1. You come across the Berserker.
Yeah, I was 99% sure. But you use that to take care of the Berserker and a couple of like these like communication locust bugs that are like jamming stuff. Eventually you do get the Resonator. Sadly, by the end of the act, everyone's favorite character, Carmine and Kim, do get murderized. But the Lieutenant Kim gets like stabbed through by this like big ass locust that you haven't seen before.
Isn't it the commander?
Yeah, it's General Ram. Yeah. It's General Ram, and he's the big bad of this game, and I hope you like seeing him because you're not going to see him again until the end of the game. Because he just kind of shows up here, and then you never see him again until you fight him at the end.
But Kim couldn't see him though. Couldn't see a 9-foot dude walking at him with a giant bunch of armor on.
He was just strolling on over there.
He's taking his
like,
walk.
He's 9 feet tall.
Walking his dog.
Marcus saw the whole thing, and it's like he didn't say anything to Kim. Like, hey, there's the captain right behind you, about to stab you. But it's like, no, I'm just gonna win.
He must have hated that dude.
He's just watching this. He's just, I'm gonna get a promotion in a minute.
Yeah,
exactly.
Can't wait.
So yeah, Kim dies, and basically, yes, Marcus is the new acting commander, field officer, whatever the fuck you want to call it. And now you have to go deploy the Resonator. Now it's just Marcus and Dom, but you're very quickly meet up with this other team. I think it was like
Bard.
Like, well, I was trying to remember the team name, but you get your other two characters, which are Baird and the Coal Train. Now, this is kind of like your quad collection of characters, especially for the first 3 games. This is like this is Delta Squad. These are the boys. Baird's a dickhead, but he's really smart, and Coltrane is Coltrane. He's used to be
Coltrane,
he used
baby.
to be a thrash ball player, but that's basically all you get. Honestly, Coltrane's kind of a one-note character, but you need him. He's a Coltrane, baby. But,
Funny as hell though.
oh yeah,
He's
he's
beautiful, baby.
Yeah,
He's
he's
beautiful, baby.
the comic relief.
But so basically, yeah, the military, you have like the thing that's going to help you save the world, but instead of anyone helping you, you're basically said, you have to go into the Locust tunnels to use this thing, and they basically tell you good luck, asshole. And so you have to figure your way out, and Marcus is like, God damn it.
Yeah.
And so they're trying to figure their way out of the city. They meet up with Baird and Cole, and Dom says he thinks he knows a way, like get some transport to get where they're going. So you fight. I think Act 2 is where we shift from day to night, and this is another one of the few things I do remember about this game. We're introduced to this thing called the Krill. So the sun sets, and this is one of the Locust's biggest weapons. Is like these swarm of like bat things that will just eviscerate anyone in the darkness. But they are like allergic to the light. They can't stand any form of light. So now you have a nighttime level where you're basically hopping from light source to light source while also fighting, where you have to deal with this gimmick now and also get shot at by Locust. But the fun thing is that if the Locusts go in the darkness, they also get eviscerated. So it's a double-edged sword. So this level is kind of fun. This is also where my truck ascended into the sky and the Krill ate me because that was my light source.
That's so good.
But you fight through here. Dom meets up with the Stranded, which I guess, again, we're not given a lot of context for a lot of the thing, like lore in this game, but the Stranded are basically like groups of civilians who forsaken the government, even though we're on the brink of extinction, ? I never really kind of cared for how they were implemented in the lore, but whatever. Dom basically knows a guy in the camp, and they're trying to get this junker car or whatever. It's basically just like an APC carrier. And so you're going through the level, you have to avoid the Krill and help these guys out and get this junker car. And again, funnily enough, when Baird asks Dom, like, how, if you hang out with Stranded? And he's like, I'm looking for someone, asshole. And that is literally all you get for Dom's, like, backstory of him looking for his wife. And again, if anyone's played the first 3 games, you probably remember that was, like, a huge part of his character, but it's never even, like, really implemented till 2 and 3. That's it. So you go through this level and you get the junker car, which probably the worst part for me and Tim to get through was this small vehicle section using the junker car, because
that part sucked.
I forgot this existed because my brain probably blocked it out of my head because of some PTSD like self-defense thing. Because holy fuck, this is awful. So unlike the fun thing, so who here would think it would be really fun if when you were driving a Warthog with your buddy in Halo, if every time your buddy wanted to shoot the turret, the fucking Warthog just stopped?
Yes.
Doesn't that sound fun? Doesn't that sound fun? Well, guess what? You can do it here. So basically you get into the junker car and you have to basically blitz it through the city back to the Stranded base to pick up Baird and Cole because you left them there as like collateral. But you have to go through with no light sources. So the Krill are going to be swarming you. But this junker car has a UV turret, which is just a giant flashlight, but it burns them alive. However, as I just said, unlike a fun thing where one person can drive and the other can, quote unquote, shoot the light source, if one person shoots the light source, the car stops dead and you're just kind of eviscerated. It is like the most dog shit part of the entire game. And this is where me and Tim actually, like, we were stuck there for like probably a solid 30 minutes trying to get past this part until we finally decided that honestly, outside of like small areas, it's better just to fucking blitz it to the end and not even shoot at the fucking things.
Yep.
I didn't know it stopped you dead. I thought it just slowed you down because
it stops you dead.
It's like the light has so much juice it just pulls the battery life right out of the vehicle. It just slows down.
I think they explained that part because I just noticed that Corey was driving slower, and I realized because I kept tapping the flashlight eventually, just like, oh, this seems better because Corey would get like a small boost when it wasn't on. It was like, oh, I guess I'm slowing it down because like it doesn't have enough power.
I don't know if we died at all during that.
No, we didn't, but we ended it with like half health because because for some reason I was like I couldn't figure out where the enemy was coming from because everything was fucking pitch black even with the flashlight.
Do you remember what difficulty you were playing on?
I was about to say
Whatever
that.
normal is.
It was casual.
Okay,
Casual's
so that's why.
not. Yeah, casual's easy.
Yeah, so me and Tim were playing on the quote unquote normal, and if one of those clouds gets on top of you, there goes
done.
half of your health.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, casual. You can
I
like
just kept
drive.
going around in circles.
Yeah, I literally could drive through the entire level without using the light once and survive on casual. Like, yeah, I could definitely see normal would be way more difficult than that.
yeah, that was awful. But yeah, it's just not a fun game mechanic, and it's the only time in the entire game you have like a vehicle segment, I believe. Anyways, I'm not forgetting something. But
No,
I'm pretty
that's
sure
that's the only vehicle you got. That's it.
Yeah, so you ride that back, you pick up Cole and Barrett, and then you're on your way. And that's basically the entirety of Act 2. So anyone wants to talk about, the darkness mechanics of the Krill, anything like that, go right ahead. I kind of said my two-piece about this act already, so.
I mean, it's neat, but it is dark as shit. So that was the hardest part visually to kind of navigate through. Because I think we got lost a couple times. We were just like, what the hell? Where am I supposed to be walking right now?
Yeah, we got lost in the abandoned house, but I think that's like way later on. That's like where we'd spent like most of the time. But for the berserker part, it's the krill. I think Corey warned me about the berserker not to shoot, but the second he told me that, I was immediately tempted to shoot because I think it'd be funny. But as like that's mechanic sounds familiar. I just don't know what game. Oh, it was Resident Evil 4 with the dual claw enemy. I was like, I remember this similar situation. But then I think they said, I think Corey, you told me specifically like don't bother shooting it because like the bullets don't do anything. We have to leave it outside. Yeah. But I was like, at the first time we fought the berserker, we both had the Hammer of Dawn. But then the second time we had to fight it later on, neither of us had it, and then I found like several, but we were inside, so neither of us picked it up.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh shit, and we were stuck in the garden, we couldn't do anything. The crow part, I think I immediately died because I wasn't paying attention, or I think the locust knocked out the lights that I was next to, so I immediately died from the krill, and then I kept walking off into the darkness on accident because I kept trying to like beeline it to the enemy side so I could just start shooting them. But every time that I like got near them, the lights just went off and immediately killed me like 3 times until I learned my lesson. So I was very problematic in that nighttime section in the city, but it was still funny. Yeah, I mean it was funny, but the APC driving part, it was like it wasn't super hard. It was just annoying because I could barely see anything.
So I had gotten 2 different tastes out of this. So I got to play the entire game by myself with the computer, which I don't recommend. That part I will definitely say the game has its quirks, like for sure. Not the smartest character when you're running around, and then Dom is just having a field day running around. You're trying to get through the fucking berserker level, and he's just taking a potty break or something. You're like, what are you doing? And then he just gets his ass mutilated by the fucking berserker countless times. It's like there's a lot of issues that I keep running into that where it's like, yeah, you're trying to go through a phase where you have to get to somewhere really quick. He does not tend to figure out what he needs to do right away, and when you're a time delay and it's coming from a place that's got like a time crunch involved, it's usually a big issue. But then when you're playing cooperative, which I got to do that, it's very fun. Like the Berserker one, just comical the entire time. I was playing with my daughter, and just the amount of just everybody's in this constant urge to hurry up and get through these doors, and then she's just breaking through it and coming after you. It's just comical the whole way through. Like I was really enjoying that shit a lot, from just the constant take cover, shoot things. It was definitely a different change of pace, and I really did enjoy that. And then when I got to the Act 2 with the night part, all I could think of and probably no one else probably did, but I was always thinking that this is just reminding me too much of Chronicles of Riddick, Pitch Black. Like, it's nighttime, these things come out, and they just fucking kill everything, so you cannot be out there in the dark, or you're going to get your ass just ripped apart. So, and I did have issues, and again, it might have been just because of me playing with my too legit copy. Um, I would have times that I thought I was walking into a reasonably lit area, and it was apparently dark
It's
enough.
like, blah,
Yeah, yeah, and a krill would just kill me. It's like, okay, so that spot, even though it looked safe, I'm not going to go there this time. I'm just going to shoot the propane, haul my ass to that light, and stay there because this area obviously is deemed unsafe. So I'm just going to do that.
I think we had that same problem too, but I think it was because the actual camera itself was too close to a light source, so it made everything look brighter than it actually was. I think that's how I kept dying a few times.
And that could have probably happened too. Yeah, I mean, I was just running through it, and I actually didn't have too big of a deal with that level. It was fine. It was just I did come across that one or two times, and I was like, really? Like, that's fucking retarded. But okay, whatever. I will make my way this way, and success. So no real big issues there. And I did like that the krill wasn't like, one-siding the coin where they would only attack you. It was actually quite nice to see that their own people would run across it in the dark, and then they would just fuck them up too. So I was like, that's pretty fucking intense.
It's kind of funny in context though, because it's just like they should know that, and they're just like they come out of the hole. It's like, all right, Jeremy, you go over here. Bill, you go. Bill, stop! God damn it, Bill! You just get shredded. It's like, God damn it, Bill! We talked about this. It's like I told you not to fall asleep during the meeting about krill.
Yeah, it was definitely different.
And this section does have some kind of outside of fucking dumb light warthog, but there's some sections that's kind of fun, especially for co-op play, because there is a section where you have to get through an alleyway, and I think in single player it's kind of lame because you have to control the light for the NPC.
Yeah.
But in split screen it's fun because one player has to go control a movable light source, and you kind of have to keep it on your buddy, or else they'll get fucking shredded. And it's just fun little things like that really complement a co-op game. And then it'll happen, I think, like at least once or twice in every act where you're going to have like a fork in the road and you have to choose which way you go. And in single player, you're just choosing which way you go. But in split screen, it's kind of funny because it will always split up player one and player two. And these sections are kind of like quote unquote harder because if you go down to those sections, you just lose because the other person can't get to you to revive you. I don't know how much it adds to the game because a lot of the time the forks are just. It's kind of fun because the forks like kind of intersect, and so you have like lines of fire on the people that are attacking your buddy that your buddy doesn't have, so you like help each other out. But at the end of the day, you just end up converging back anyways. So it's like, why'd you even split up to begin with?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's just a small thing that kind of helps the co-op aspect of this game.
I think the only downside for those split off points is if a character goes down, then you have to do it over because you can't.
That's what I just said.
Them.
Yeah,
that's what I just said because you're separated. If you go down, it's just done, which
Yep.
kind of makes those sections a bit harder, which is more of a challenge. But I definitely caused a lot of resets because I was very impatient at a certain point, and I kept dying over and over and over again. I'm like, okay, Tim, you go on the right path, and I'll go on the left path, and then we won.
Sections seem pretty pointless.
Or you take a bad guess and you're like, that looks safe. You do that one. It's way worse.
Well,
like, whoops, my bad.
The way that they do them where you have to choose, I think it might have been, I know it might defeat the purpose here because what they're doing is the whole, you are not with your buddy. So, now now it's a little bit more stressful, even though you still have a partner. It's just the NPC is never going to help you if you get down, right? So it's like, I'm still with somebody else. Why wouldn't he pick me up? So if you could have just had, and maybe they do this in the remake or whatever, but you could just have alternate lanes for you to play through because they have those in-game items that you're looking for, the cogs. So it would make you kind of, if you're looking for them, like we were casually looking for them as we played, but if you were looking for them, it would make you want to walk back and go through multiple pathways to kind of check. And then if I walked up one because I'm going to go up there and look for something and I can see you down fighting, like it's not a forced like section, they could have just opened it up to just natural level flow, and I think it would have felt better. Because you separating from each other if he's downed, but I don't know if there's a timer on if you're downed or not. I think you can
There
just be
is a
bleeding out.
timer. It just takes a long time
Yeah.
for you to die.
So, like, if he was downed and I'm like, fuck, I have to go help him. Like, because obviously Coltrane and Barrett aren't going to help you. So if I saw that he went a different route than me and then down and I have to run to him anyways, like the timer would bring that same stress that you look or that they're trying to give you with the forced separation. So that's kind of how I would have done it instead. But yeah.
But anyways, so that leads us to Act 3, where we are going down into the tunnels. So if I remember correctly, you drive the Junker to this emulsion factory, and while the game doesn't really like explain a whole lot of this, but basically emulsion's basically like this resource. It's like the main energy source for the entire world. And more or less, it's kind of why the Locusts are pissed, because we're drilling into their homes looking for this emulsion and causing a bunch of damage, which is why they're coming up and fucking with us. There's way more deeper lore to Gears, but that's like the basic concept for this game essentially. But so you go in here because obviously it's a mine, so it's going to have access to the mine, the tunnels below it. So this is where you're going to run into a lot of wretches, and this is where you're going to be introduced to the Lambent. And again, I thought the Lambent are basically emulsion-infected locusts, is how I would describe them, and it kind of makes them berserk and also incredibly volatile. They explode. They really expand on this concept in the later Gears, to the point where basically Lambent locusts are like a rebel faction among locusts. But in this game, it's literally just wretches. And the only gameplay element it adds is the fact that, I said before, the wretches just run at you and you can just stand there with your chainsaw and just wait for them to walk into it. But now they explode. You don't want that. They will very, especially on normal difficulty, you will die very quickly. So now you have wretches jumping at you, but they're also bombs. So instead of just sitting there waiting to chainsaw them, you're actually going to be shooting them and be like, get the fuck away from me. And that's like the main enemy through most of this chapter. You will fight regular locusts, but they throw those wretches at you like constantly. This is also a very dark level, but you don't have to deal with the Krill anymore. The Krill are literally basically only a factor in Act 2. And then briefly at the very end of the game. So we go through this mine, and quite frankly, in terms of story, it's a lot of nothing. I mean, there's flavor conversation, sure, when they're trying to figure their way out through the facility, but it's ultimately, you just get to the facility, you make your way down, you get inside the tunnels, and you set the resonator off, basically.
The slowest minecart level ever.
Yeah, you detonate the resonator. Yeah, we have a Donkey Kong fucking minecart segment, and it's cool, but don't even bother shooting anything because you don't have to. Just sit in your cart and nice and cozy.
This is the ride.
Yeah. There's not a whole lot to say about this section because again, this act is the same as the rest of them, except now we're dealing with we had the Krill last time. Now we're having to deal with exploding wretches now, and I think at the end of this is when we fight the Corpser. I believe the giant. This really cool, by the way. The giant locusts always have really fucking cool designs. I don't think we see a Brumac in this game, but fuck, I love Brumacs. They're so cool. I have a figure of one of them.
Is it like T-Rex?
Yeah, it's a T-Rex with all the guns on it.
You do. It's just a cutscene. It's a cutscene.
Yeah. But here we fight a Corpser, which is essentially a giant hand. It's like it has a bunch of like talons in its back, and it's like a digger. That's what it does. It digs the locust tunnels, and we fight it. And I'm not going to lie, the fight with it's kind of lame.
Yeah.
Because it just kind of sits there and you have to shoot it in its little belly. And then it just kind of goes, no. And it like pushes itself back until it just falls into the emulsion and dies.
The first time we fought that, we were trying to figure out what the hell we were supposed to do to it. And then the second time we fought it, I think it's because we had to come back from our trip because we just got there and saved it. This is where a jank happened to me because I got stuck and he wouldn't open his stupid hands. And I was pinned between his mouth and the back side of the fingers. And I was just screaming the whole time. I was like, I can't get away from this.
Yeah, when we figured out what we were supposed to do, we kind of just like got stuck between within the hands just because he can't hit us from here. But for the longest while, we just kept shooting its face. without like doing anything because we weren't paying attention to dialogue. And then we, after a while, we realized like we're probably doing this wrong. And then we restarted, and then we noticed like, oh, we're supposed to shoot it in the stomach and then the mouth. But then eventually, when we came back, then we did the same thing again because we remembered. And then when we got it back to where we're supposed to knock it down into the emulsion, Corey, I got out and I was about to let it fall in, but then Corey yells like, I'm stuck inside. I was like, oh, because he stuck in within the hand, and he couldn't get out. He just kept shooting at it. And I couldn't do anything. Just standing out there fighting all the other smaller enemies. Like, I literally can't do anything. Huh?
I think we had to reset it and then fight him again.
No, eventually, after a little bit, he eventually let you go. We don't know why he did that, but we were literally stuck at the end part of that fight because if I brought him down, then you would have died with him.
Yeah. I only found out to shoot him in the stomach because I just remember the title of that level. It says "In the belly of the beast," and I was like, "It's just weird."
I don't think that's what it meant, but okay.
Yeah, like I was like looking at it for after a while because I was shooting at his face for a fucking while and then shooting at his body and couldn't figure out where the fuck it was. So I just tried to shoot his stomach, and then that's when it kind of worked out. And then I saw him start moving back. But then I noticed too, it's like I was spray like all over the place with a machine gun to hit whatever I had to do because he was at the very back end and he would not go anywhere. And then I guess like the second time I tried it and found out that there's these two metal latches that are connected to the ground on both sides where that thing is stopping at, where the emulsion is, and then the other side where you're at. And if those get damaged, then they break, and then that's when it falls into the emulsion and it just dies.
And me personally, through this level, this is when I realized the hammer burst, which is basically a single shot rifle for the Locust. That is a way better weapon than the Lancer is in this game. It kills that shit way faster.
Oh, okay.
But of course, who wants to give up chainsaw bayonet? But I did because it was killing shit faster.
Is it the burst fire weapon?
It's the main one that the Locust use a lot of the time. Yeah, you never run out of ammo, and like I said, it seemed to kill shit way faster than the Lancer did, or at least it seemed like it to me. But anyways, so yeah, we fight the Corpser, which again, I guess the boss fight's kind of lame because you're just two little dudes just standing in front of it. It could easily just kill you if it wanted to, but because it's a video game, it doesn't. But so you get past the Corpser, and then we're introduced to another kind of iconic, probably I would say the second most iconic weapon next to the Lancer in Gears of War. Because we're introduced to the Locust Honor Guard, and their signature weapon is the Torque Bow, which is a really fun weapon. It's kind of like a crossbow, but the bolt is explosive. So I mean, that's just fucking fun. If you tag someone with it, they're just dead. And again, I don't know if you watched all the clips, Jordan, but I tagged again. There's another enemy we haven't talked about with the Boomer, and those are fun, like big ass fucking hulking dudes with a big grenade launcher. Yep. When they fire, they go boom.
Yep.
And I shot one with a torque bow, and he goes boom.
Everywhere.
I was just like, that was perfect timing.
The
guard cool as shit.
Theron guards. We get the torque bows.
Yep, those guys are really cool looking. And yeah, the torque bows are like their signature weapon, and vice versa. If they tag you, game over. Sorry, and there's no reviving from that. You just explode into pieces.
They look to have really good aim in that game too. Like if you stood up, you were gonna get fucking stuck.
The AI is actually not that bad in this game. Like outside of some small exceptions with like some of the guys running with revolvers or shotguns that'll just run straight at you. A lot of the times I'll be waiting for this, like, stick your head up, and he'll just be like, no, you're gonna shoot me. I'm gonna wait till you do it.
Yeah, I think those are the
but
drones.
the AI is really not that dumb. Like it can be manipulated, but it's like, I don't know. I actually thought like they were trying to, not die. And when they weren't just throwing themselves at me.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you fight Theron guards, and then you set the resonator off. Unfortunately, I didn't see what happened the next cutscene. I know you get out because for whatever reason my Xbox skipped that cutscene, and when I didn't even press anything, I don't even know what happened. But basically, the resonator goes off, but for some reason you need to go to Marcus Phoenix's estate because his dad, I guess, was a professor that worked on the resonator to get the data that the resonator is supposed to. Because remember,
Right.
the resonator is just mapping out the locust tunnels so you know where to put the bomb.
Right.
So now you need the data now that it's set off, and now you have to go to Marcus's mansion to get that data. So that's Act 4. Now we're leading into Act 4, which is going to Marcus's house and getting that data. And again, it's not a whole lot to say. We get some kind of like, subtleties to Marcus's backstory, but again, none of this is really expounded on until Gears 2 and 3. Again, cut and dry. And at this point, I believe we're done with new enemy types because we have the grubs and all their different weapon types between the snipers, the shotguns, the hammer bursts, and the pistols. We have wretches, both volatile and non-volatile. We have the boomers, and we have the Theron guards. And then outside of, we're going to fight, like, I think 2 more berserkers in this game. But they're special cases. But that's basically your whole roster of enemies, which seems kind of shallow, but the grubs have a lot of different varieties to them. So they kind of make up a large portion of the enemies. And as the games go on, we get more and more interesting, enemies to fight. So yeah, you basically just have a raid on Marcus's mansion. Of course, the locusts for some reason know where you're going and are stopping you every step of the way. But you basically break your way into Marcus's mansion and make your way to the cellar, into the secret lab to get Jack, which you have this robot thing called Jack, which way more than once you're going to be defending as he opens doors and shit, to hack into the mainframe and get the resonator data. The game really starts speeding up here because Acts 4 and 5 are really short, I think, in comparison to 1 through 3, and even 1 through 3 weren't even that long. So I really don't know what to say about this part. It has a really fun section where you defend the whole mansion against waves of locusts. That was fun. I like that part. I believe we fight another berserker here at some point, which every time you fight a berserker, you get to play around with the Hammer of Dawn, which is always a fun time. But other than that, I don't really know what to say about this act, honestly. It's just more cut and dry, just action, action, action. And now we have all the tools at our disposal and all the enemies we can fight. So it's just now the game's just throwing everything it has at you at this point. So if anyone wants to take the floor for anything about this act, go ahead.
The mansion was cool, but for me it was most I guess memorable for the online map. Like that was one of the maps I like playing on, was the mansion level. As far as the level in general, just the waiting for Jack thing, like those are always just, I feel like it's just like a weird hidden loading screen. But yeah, it's just defend this invisible robot that was never here, and then he shows up, and whenever that part's convenient to kind of gate the gameplay a little bit. Same thing when those walking parts where Marcus is talking with his fingers on the side of his head. It's just like the game is padding itself out so it's not beaten in under 4 hours, even though I'm pretty sure you could if you really kind of streamlined it.
Yeah, if you never died, I think this game could be blitzed through in about 4 hours. That seems realistic enough to me.
Yeah, how much was this game when it released?
60 or 50 or something.
Yeah, I think we were in the realm of 50 when it came out still, I think. But here's the thing. The game has but here's the thing. Back in the day, kind of like Halo 3. I mean, I know I was this kid. Like Halo 3 has a linear campaign. I can't tell you how many times I played through the fucking thing. Same thing with Halo 2. Same thing with Gears of War. You just play through the campaign over and over and over again. Granted, nowadays, in terms of replayability, there's not much outside of maybe getting all the COG dog tags. But
but also the online.
Yeah, and then there you have the online. But I think that was...
I forgot about the online.
Well, it had online. I know Corey says he likes it. I thought it was all right. I never really played it. The only time I played online was when Horde mode was a thing. I didn't really care for the PvP in this game. I just played it for the PvE.
Okay. No, I was wondering. It was like that was a short campaign. I was like, how much did this game cost?
I mean, notoriously, shooter games really don't have all that long of a campaign, to be honest. Most of them don't. So
yeah, I mean, at the time when we were playing, I was like, we're going through this pretty quickly. I was like, how much does this game cost? I was like, we're going we went through it faster than Mass Effect. I'm assuming they were in similar price in the day, but it was
again,
my thought.
remember,
I never really asked.
Mass Effect's an RPG. This is just a straight action shooter, so we don't have any of that.
And the game was $60 when it came out, when it released back in 2006. It was $60.
Oh.
Yeah, I just forgot about the online aspect.
It was also back in the day where going to GameStop and getting a pre-owned copy for like half that price was way more popular.
Yeah. It was like it was just like a question that was like I had while we were playing the game, but I never asked. But like for the underground segment, after we fought what was it called again?
There's a
digging,
corpser. The corpser is the big thing.
yeah, the corpser. Like I think it was immediately after that where we had to take a forked road. Corey and I died on that forked road several times.
It's so bad. That's the worst one in the game. Is that one?
Yeah, because like we kept getting attacked by each other's enemies, so it's just like being bombarded and like really hard to avoid them, especially when there's like one red enemy each side. So it was like really annoying. We died like maybe 3 times on there.
That was the one where I kept going right and I kept getting my ass kicked because the game's like, how would you like 6 lambent wretches and a shotgun dude shoved right up your asshole? And I'm just like, I wouldn't. And I just couldn't deal with them. And then I finally like Tim switched with me. Of course he could deal with it. So we finally switched and we actually got through. But I just kept getting my ass kicked on that part.
Yeah, I think I got too pissed, and I was like, I'm just gonna shotgun everything in the rest of this level.
That was my problem, though, is that mainly what I carried through the game was the revolver, a sniper rifle, and usually the Lancer, but then I switched to hammer burst halfway through because I like getting just popping headshots. So when they just charged shit at me, I had nothing. So I was just like, oh no.
Yeah, there's like
grenades.
Well, I always forget about I have grenades, but it was like with the small screen that each of us had, it was really hard to like look where the grenade was going to fall with the arch because it was the bloom was very high for like the arch aiming for the grenade, and everything else was so dark, so it was kind of hard to see where it was going on a smaller side of the screen during 2-player. And then we like in the Marcus's mansion. That's where me and Corey got lost for a very long while. And then we eventually got through. However, I was Corey probably didn't notice it until it actually happened, but I was trolling him the entire time because I didn't like the exploding bow launcher because I prefer quick weapons, and Corey really likes the bow weapon. So he had it for like almost the entirety of that level. So the entire time we were in the mansion, I was just trolling Corey and then like getting in the way anytime he was trying to shoot the arrow because I thought it'd be funny just to like step in and have him shoot me in the back and then it explodes, killing us both. So I was just like purposely getting in the way of his shots.
Or your teammate.
I just thought it was funny. There's like it eventually happened, but
I distinctly remember Jordan doing the same thing to Edwin when y'all were playing.
Oh yeah, no, we did a lot. I did a lot. I'm not lying. I threw his ass to the damn dogs. I was just like, whoop, jumped, threw him on the Jeep and just launched his ass into the bunch of fucking all those Covenant. Yeah, no, I did that shit.
Yeah, I mean, it eventually happened once, and it was funny, but to our surprise, it didn't kill either of us. It just hurt us. Minimally, so it's just like, oh, okay, well, it would have been funny if it did kill us, but I was like, at least I succeeded in what I was trying to do the whole time.
And when I was playing the mansion, for me was a little bit more. I don't know. I didn't have too much fun in that one. It was only because everything was mostly going in a straight line. Like, this is literally what we're going through, and you know exactly where you have to go, basically. This one was a lot of having to go back and forth. You'd be going through, go to the top level, seeing that there's cutscene of them that are coming, and okay, then you kill a little bit of them, then you go down in the cellar, and then you get Jack to open that wall, and you go down there and you get the stuff that you need. Then you end up coming back up, and you have to go to Baird and Cole, and then you're dealing with that shit again, and then you're zip-zing back and forth to each room, killing those, grubs are coming out of the floor, and you're having to deal with that, and then they eventually go back up again, and you're having to take care of them again. So it was like, there was a lot of zigzagging in that, and I kind of figured, because it's a mansion, so you're not going to really be able to do much in that house, but, I didn't really, the pace kind of slowed down quite a bit for me in there, and I was more eager to just try and get out of that one to see what else there was to be doing, because just everything was inside the whole time, which was easier to use with the shotgun. I mean, that was the main weapon I was doing, just running around in each room and just blowing people's heads off. But Yeah, it definitely slowed down rather than the other levels that I was used to.
That mission also ends on a 10-second challenge timer, right?
Oh
You have to
yeah,
load a vehicle.
I think it was 15, and then
It's
like
some
Yeah,
short
because you
amount
have
of
to
time.
fucking dash out of the fuck.
Yep.
I forgot about that. That
Two-
shit. It is intense
two
because it's really
boomers.
short.
Yeah, well, I was fighting at first, and then I realized the timer. I was like, "Oh shit!" But it's like 2 boomers, 2 guys with bows, and then a couple other like regular dudes, and you have to get around all of them to get to the car.
You're forced to run through them because there's no
Yeah.
fucking way you're going to kill them before and then run to the chopper after that. Get through the
Yeah.
chopper. No,
Yeah.
but
no,
it's,
I thought it was an APC that was about to get eaten
well,
by a
either
giant
way,
enemy.
yeah, your evac vehicle. But either way, like you do not have time to kill those things. The game forces you to run through them.
yeah, because you're not fast enough. That's when the Brumac will destroy your car. So you need to
Yeah.
hurry up and get in there, and then you take off. And the cutscene is you're driving away from the Brumac, ready to kill your ass, and you go through that little tunnel area, and you can't get through.
Yeah, that part sucked. We died a few times on that. I think on the last attempt we killed like 1 or 2 of the boomers. I think because Corey like one-shot one of them.
Yeah, I hit him
And
with
then-
the torque, and then we dipped around him.
Yeah, it was like more. I think there was like 1 more boomer in the back after the 2 in the front, or something like that. But yeah, it was like we failed like maybe 3 times until we realized like we just need to run through it and survive. Hopefully.
Ghost ride the whip.
Yeah.
But then that leads into Act 5, which again, probably the shortest act of them all. Now that we have deployed the resonator, we know where to plant the bomb. And since we got the data from the mansion, time to plant the bomb and shove it right up their ass. So you load up the light mass bomb on a train. And of course, the locusts always seem to know what the fuck is going on. So they're already all over the
so
fucking train.
nosy.
Just
Yeah.
hanging out at the train station.
Be my business.
It's like the opposite. I feel like everywhere we're going, Marcus or Dom is like writing notes of exactly where they're going and what they're doing, and then some like General Ram is behind them. And he picks up. He's like, "Huh, well, that's convenient."
yeah, they're just hanging by the water cooler listening.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's just
Um,
got a human face on, pretending to be one of their partners.
It's got
Where
the
are
eye
you
cut
guys
out for the eyes.
going this afternoon?
Yeah.
He's just
Not to
wearing
mention
Kim's
he's 9
face.
feet tall.
I can't wait to go home and do human things. But so of course, yeah, locusts are already fucking all over the train. So of course, because literally no one else is in this military but these 4 fucking bastards, you have to go deal with it. Because the one thing that's going to save the entire universe isn't worth deploying, the entire fucking military right there, right now. So Delta Squad gets on the train. You have to fight your way onto the train. You get on the train. And of course, everyone likes a good train segment. You have to fight your way up the train, fighting past all the locusts. We have another Berserker segment, which is kind of fun because this Berserker, you don't have the Hammer of Dawn. So this is the only Berserker you have to fight without the Hammer of Dawn. And funnily enough, I think you have 2 different options to kill the Berserker.
Yes.
So you're on a train. Your option 1 is to lure the Berserker onto a previous train car and then just yeet it, unlock the chain
It's
car
so
and watch
bad.
them fly into oblivion. Oh yeah,
Ragdoll.
it looks terrible because the thing is, once you unlock the train car, the Berserker just dies of a heart attack because you don't even see him like fly off.
Yeah.
Like it just ragdolls and collapses instantly. Your other option is that, of course, there's a giant gas cylinder in the middle of another train car that you can lure it next to and then blow it to hell. Me and Tim kind of fucked up because Tim lured it onto the previous cart, and I thought he was gonna get off. And I shot it too early and ended up sending him with it. And I was like, whoopsie. So that's kind of a fun encounter because this is the only time you don't have the Hammer of Dawn to just wipe, magic eraser away the Berserker. You fight your way up the train, and you're introduced with kind of the only boss fight. The Corpser's kind of a boss fight, but it's so stupidly easy. I don't really count as it as a boss fight. It doesn't really have mechanics, more or less. So you fight. Hi, it's General Ram again. You remember him from the first cutscene, or the cutscene of Act 1? Here he is again. And apparently he's the Krill Whisperer, because he just has a bunch of krill around him at all times, and Marcus says, "Let's do this," and then you go into your fucking boss fight. You go into your fucking every time I heard fucking Marcus say, "Let's do this," through the entire.
Yeah.
Not only because he says it sometimes when you get get the active reload, and I just laugh every time. Let's do this. So you fight General Ram. I think there's multiple options for you here because again, there's some light sources. The krill are now a factor again. He has like a shield of krill around him, so you have to disperse the krill. How me and Tim did it, we had enough grenades. If you hit him with a grenade, they disperse long enough for you to shoot at him.
wow.
I think there are light sources in the area that you can use. Like there's multiple things I think you can do to get the krill off of him, but grenades are an option, and that's what me and Tim went with and just killed him in one cycle. He's really not that bad of a boss. Really, the entire mechanic is just get the shield off, then shoot him, and then keep shooting him until he just rinse repeat till he dies. You kill General Ram, like badass, like action heroes. Dom and Marcus have to like bail off of the train as it's flying over a bridge into the abyss, and you grab onto the chopper. I think as you're like falling and shit, like an action hero, and you shove the light mass bomb down to this big ass mountain. It goes off and seemingly kills a shit ton of locusts. Triumphant music plays and Lieutenant Hoffman's like, "We did it, you did it, Phoenix, good job, I fucking hate you."
I hate you
and
too.
then you have kind of like General Ram. Funnily enough, when you first see General Ram at Act 1's last cutscene, you hear this voiceover by a woman who's the Locust Queen saying like, "Oh, puny humans, they don't even know my machinations." You basically shove a bomb up their ass, and in really annoying fashion, she's like, "Oh yes, you just nuked half my populace, but that doesn't matter. I will come back like I always do." Muhahaha. Basically setting up like, leaving the door open for a sequel. I don't know if I honestly to God do not know if they thought they were going to get a sequel, but they definitely hoped they did. Yeah. Well, I think they hoped they did, but they definitely didn't know that they were going to. So they left the door open for an expansion to the story, which, like I said, especially in 2 and 3, they definitely did because this lore like explodes the longer this fucking series goes on. But and yeah, that's the game. It's a really cut and dry story. You just you survey and you shove a bomb up their ass. That's it. That's the game. That's the plot. Like that's it.
All you need.
Yeah, but yeah, I agree. Honestly, it's all you need for something this simple. And for a new IP, just doing something really simple and just getting people hooked on the gameplay first and foremost was really, and then expanding the story later once you know you had an audience is kind of a good idea. So yeah, that's Act 5. Floor is open. Talk about the train and Ram and how you felt after that.
I mean, I like the train level. I do like the fight with Ram. Yeah, the train level. I think the train levels are cool in most games in general. It's like I don't know, something about like the moving background while you're on it, because it's just like, I don't know, it just kind of ramps up the like thematic aspect of the level.
Didn't seem that way when you were playing Resident Evil 0. You were pissed at the scorpion.
Well, the train in Resident Evil 0 isn't moving, so maybe that's what I need. And yeah, the scorpion was an asshole, but in this one, like it seems a little bit more visually appealing as far as like color scheme goes, and then the fight with Ram, we kind of melted him pretty much. We're just fully, because the game does that thing where it's like, there's a bunch of ammo right here, guess what's about to happen through that door. So we had a shitload of like grenades and everything else and just kind of peeled the shields off, and it's kind of anticlimactic when he dies. He's just like, "Ah," and then it's like, okay, well, that's done. Because he also, like you said, he doesn't really appear in other places of the game, so he's just kind of like, "Hey, remember that big guy that killed your friend, I guess?" And he's back, and it's less of like, "You son of a bitch," like one of those moments. Just you treat him the same way that you treat everything that you've come across in that game. Just shoot at it until it's gone.
I just picture it like you're in the grocery, and fucking Rom just cuts the line. You turn around, and you see each other. That's the battle.
Glaring at him,
like what?
No, that's Marcus turns around. Let's do this.
Yeah, 60 fucking times.
Runs through the parking lot, crouched down.
Yeah, 12 items or less.
Yeah, he's like, "You got 13 items, sir. You can't be in this line." He's like,
yeah. They're handling right there, Fred Myers. Oh shit.
It was a very like fast level, I suppose, but it's kind of for the best because the game kind of knows what you just kind of went through, so they're just kind of walking you into the like, okay, let's just win this.
Yeah, it's a bit of just. I think the game has good pacing. I mean, it is short. Don't get me wrong. I feel like there could have been more, and I do believe the games get significantly longer as the series goes on. This is probably the shortest game, but
Do you think it was
you're never bored. There's always something
Yeah.
happening.
Do you think it was? Do you think this game is actually shorter than the first Halo game? Because they were both pretty damn short.
Yeah, I would say
Yes.
this is
No,
definitely-
Halo is definitely longer.
Yeah, Halo is longer only because the combat, like I think it's because the levels are bigger. I would maybe is that it? Maybe I don't know because
Well,
the time
there's cutscenes and there's a lot more
There's
space
more
between
lore.
fights.
Oh, you know what? It's because the levels are bigger and there's vehicle combat and there's a lot of back and forth, just stuff like what was it? Assault in the control room is long as fuck. Or Silent Cartographer is long as fuck. That's the one where you have to go through the whole like there and back
Oh
again.
yeah,
So yeah, the levels are just a lot longer in Halo than in Gears.
yeah. This was a very short level for sure. Yeah, you get on the train and then you're just running through the carts, and then you basically you just bump into Rom somehow. Like, hey, I remember you, and then you guys go to hell. I mean, the only reason I was having that issue because again, I got the chance to do first person or one player and then two player. Man, and this is kind of where you're like figuring out how bad your assistant Mr. Dom is, where you're trying to now figure out ways to have him not get killed by the Krill because he will continuously walk into the fucking darkness and then Krill will just eat his ass and he just dies all the time. So yeah, I said that let's do this like maybe 50 times. It was really obnoxious.
It was just funny because I knew you were on the boss fight. The only thing I could hear coming from your end is every time Marcus let's do this.
Yeah.
30 seconds later, let's do this. 30 seconds later, let's do this.
Yeah,
You know,
it's just fucking
I
screaming.
don't think the game has companion commands.
It doesn't.
It does
it's not like
not.
Mass
Yeah.
Effect.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like that's kind of how I guess dated it is with having like a game that has pseudo co-op even though you're playing by yourself, but there's no like stand there, go there, cover me. It's just Dom going, watch this, and then does
I'm
a
gonna
flip.
do a flip. Marcus, I'm gonna do a flip.
Yeah, because it was like literally I could tell how much different the difficulty was playing with someone versus with no one. Like I literally was playing with my 8-year-old daughter, and we killed Rom in the second try. Like it was immediate. But as soon as I was doing this one, first player, I would die so many fucking times. I was babysitting basically. Like what the fuck are you doing? I was destroying all those sides because you have that narrow path to Rom, or you could destroy those sides and then they fall down and then it widens that level, which I thought was kind of cool too because you could like change the landscape of how it was going to be if you shot those sides, so it gave you more room to work around him. But it didn't really matter because Dom would just be like, I'm just going to park my ass over here, and then Krill just rips him apart, or he's like, you know what, I'm going to go try and fight the boss by myself. And what are you doing? And he just runs right up to him and just gets fucking blasted. And it's like, now it's about me trying to unload as much as I possibly can before Dom gets murdered. That's basically
your timer.
what it is.
That's
Yeah.
Dom getting himself
How
killed.
dumb
You're
is
not
he going
even
to get?
You're not fighting the boss at that point. You're battling the game mechanics.
It's like a
Marcus,
reverse.
watch me do.
Yeah, it's like a reverse limit break. It's like he hit his special and he's like, "I'm ready," and he goes up there and it doesn't work, and he gets fucking. It's like the Final Fantasy VI. He's like, "Ooh," and he misses, and it just fucking now his ass is gonna get just ripped apart, and it just happens every single time. And so, yeah, the minecart easy as shit. But when it came to the boss part, I was losing it. It was only until I got to play with actually somebody, like a real human being, that it was actually quite fun. And it was very quick. Yeah, you killed the boss maybe less than a minute if you were like really like loading on his ass like consistently. If the krill came off of him and you just unloaded heavy shells on his ass with like the proper load, and they're all the glowing bullets, and you just shoot him, he downs really fast.
Yeah, it does sound super weird that you get a game over because your partner is killed, rather than just like if your partner is like loses all his health, he's just down and then he can't help you.
Well, I think the
'Cause it-
difference is because I remember if I remember correctly in single player, Dom can just go down. You still need to revive him.
Yes.
But the thing is, the Krill
We'll rip him
turn
apart.
you into chunks. Yeah, they turn you into chunks, and that's an instant game over. And then I'm assuming that if Ram does it, he either turns you into bits, or if he doesn't, he's probably going down right at his feet, and you
And he
can't really
crushes
just
you.
run at the guy. Yeah.
Well,
So
does he have a shotgun or
he has a boom shot, I think.
Yeah.
Doesn't, or a torque bow. He has something awful.
It was a powerful fucking like long range shotgun that would just eliminate you immediately if you came up close to him. Like it was just
It's a
gone.
main character gun?
Yeah, it was a
Yeah,
cheater villain gun.
Well, because like for me and Corey, as I'm not really sure how that last fight went because it was just like somewhat sudden, even though we died a few times. But I mean, to explain like the whole level from how we went through it, like the when the berserker first came down on the very beginning of the level, I was surprised and just like and also scared because like there's no way the hammer if we had the hammer of dawn, it would never work on a moving train. So I was like, I was actually like concerned. I was like, how do we get rid of this thing? And then like Corey led it to the very back of it, and then I heard the dialogue saying, "I was like, we got to cut off the train cart." It was like, okay, let me just absolutely make sure that I don't send Corey with it. And then we got it like I think on the first try.
Gonna home alone.
Yeah, and then like I think we had some issues with like in like the train car where it's just like it was much bigger, but there were exploding rakes,
the
racks.
exploding guys.
Yeah, they kept coming from each side. So me and Corey just like started just like spawn killing them like on each end, and that was pretty much it for that section. And then when we finally made it to the boss, we died a few times. I'm not exactly sure how. I think my dumbass just like ran up to him so I can just like unload a bunch of shotguns to him, and then he just eventually killed me. So it was like I think we both went the just long range fight the entire time. I think you were using the crossbow, and then I picked up the sniper to shoot him in the head just for more damage. I was just trying to test out something. Huh?
Because he's really slow moving, so it's kind of easy to shoot him in the face.
Yeah, but it's like the way Udon explained how the fight was supposed to go, I don't think we did any of that. We just started unloading anytime the krill like were gone for whatever for one reason or another.
At you or whatever.
Yeah, it's like I was like I thought it was just a pattern. I was just shooting until he died. I don't know like the krill are shielding him or not. I was like because like it wasn't like a physical shield, but it's like there's. I mean, in my perspective, it wasn't like a physical wall. It was just like little bits. If I'm shooting enough, the krill will like disappear bit by bit from each of my shots, and then eventually they'll like have not enough krill to make a shield, and then I'll be able to shoot him directly. That was my thought process the entire time. So I was just unloading as many bullets as I could at him until he died. And I was not really thinking at that point.
And I actually came across it too, is that if you actually run past the boss and go all the way to the back, there is actually a turret back there that you can fucking unload on him, and that's what we did. So I had my daughter was just shooting at him with the Magnum, and I just hauled my ass all the way to the very end, got on the turret, and then just took his ass out like immediately.
Sounds cheap.
Now
I was there.
I think about it. the fight
it's nice.
is almost pointless, right? Because if they were just the train, it's not like they threw it, right? The train just goes to where it's going to go blow up.
Well, I think the point is that Ram was redirecting it. Then after you kill him, you redirect it back to where it's supposed to be, I think was the issue.
I was going to say, just like let it do its thing. Ram's like, I'm here first. Then he's just sitting on the front end of it as it plows into the fucking thing.
Yeah, no, I think the point is that he was directing it away from the detonation point, so you had to like redirect it back. But it is kind of nice, like how many options you have dealing with him. So it's not just like the same boss fight every time. So I guess like everyone here had like a different experience beating him. Even easy though it might be, everyone did something different. So that's kind of interesting. That's cool.
Yeah.
But that's the whole thing. That's Gears of War. It's a really straightforward game. I feel like if it was any of the sequels, we had way more to talk about, especially in terms of like the story. But the first Gears of War is like a really straightforward, cut and dry. This is what it is, and what it is pretty fucking good, honestly. It's just a good time. I mean, granted, I still think Gears of War 2 is a vast improvement, but it's improving on what's something that was already good. So I mean, that just makes it better. It has its drawbacks. Again, don't like the color, and time to kill is a bit high, but that's probably its two biggest issues. Overall, if I had to give it a score, um, probably be like an 8 out of 10, and that's only because like there's very little wrong with the game. Everything it does well, and it doesn't try to be anything more than what it's supposed to be. I know it's kind of a confusing sentence, but it just knew what it wanted, and it just did what it wanted to do. It didn't try to be anything else. So and it was fun time to play through it. It wasn't frustrated. It was having lots of fun with it. I'd play it again. I'd rather play Gears of War 2, but it's great. I don't regret it. It's a game that I'd love to, glad that's on my shelf again. I'm glad that's there. So and it's way less painful than a lot of other games I've played. I was way less frustrated playing this than I was playing fucking Metal Gear or something. But yeah. I loved it. There really wasn't a whole lot of like low frustrating points. I only docked 2 points off of it because I know it might be a bit unfair, but I know what Gears turns into, and it's even better than this. I think maybe it's because it's bare bones, but doesn't necessarily make it a bad thing. Like the bare bones though it is, it's good bare bones. So I mean, it could just be a little bit more. So that's why I would take 2 points off it. But 8 out of 10 in my opinion is still really fucking good. So that's what I would say about it.
Yeah, I would agree. 8 out of 10 for me. Super fun game. I mean, it's a really good idea, is what it is. Like for it being a new. I watched the trailer for that game a lot. The Mad World trailer on 360. I was so hyped for the game, and then it came out. I played it. I wasn't disappointed in any way. I thought it was just like a super like fuck yeah time, and going back to play it now after all these years, I had just as much fun playing it with Edwin. Even though it's like, yeah, there's some struggle bus parts, but I mean, there's every game has a struggle bus part in it, and even though it's a short game, it's such a just good experience. And the replayability of it is kind of nice because like I could sit down and play that game again because it's just fun to play, and I think that's what the main focus is. And then they expand upon the story in the second game, but they really got the joy out of the like crazy combat and intense action out of this one.
Yeah,
I mean,
you go ahead.
It's like I will say it's like the length of it like makes a little bit of sense, but I think it's more of a personal opinion. It is very basic and like almost entirety besides the combat. Personally, I think I would take away like maybe half a point, just for like personal opinion, for that. So like mine would be maybe like a 7.5. For the 0.5 is like obviously is my personal opinion. Like it's too short and like not a lot going for it besides just combat itself. If I was playing it by myself, there's absolutely no way that I would play it over again. Is it definitely more fun with another person? I can't really say for the online part, but the PvP is not really my thing, so I wouldn't be playing online either. The lack of story and just like, I mean, I guess it's like it's very devoid of pretty much anything else. Besides the combat, like the gameplay is more important to me than graphics, but still the everything else surrounding the combat is just like not really there, almost non-existent. Like I didn't really care for most of the characters. I didn't really understand the world all that much, other than it's just war. So I was like, I just
Gears of War.
I mean, it's like, yeah, like, oh, cool.
Get it right.
I was like, and everything is being destroyed. It was like, I don't really feel for any of the characters. They all seem kind of like assholes, except for Coltrane. But he's just like a cool guy to be around. So he was like the comic relief for the most part. But it was like the way that you described it, as it was like they didn't really know if they were going to get a sequel, makes perfect sense for it, because everything is like open ended. It's just very bare. It seems like this game was just like a prototype of what it could be. So if I can't really remember much from Gears of War 2 from the time that I played it. I just remember it just looks nicer, and like the combat is just like doubled down. So it's just like, if I will look at the Gears of War remake, because I feel like Gears of War 1 could have been a lot more than it really was, because this one just feels like an absolute skeleton of like a full product. So if it comes out in like a similar fashion, just like a fuller game, like recent remakes that have come out, then it'll probably be a lot more interesting to me. So I was like, I didn't enjoy the original, the remake I'll probably look into just out of curiosity.
Yeah, that's fair. I understand.
For me, I would say that I'm personally going to rate it differently than everybody else. I want to rate this as if I'm not going to compare it to any other of the Gears. I just want to keep it just for Gears itself. Specifically, the replayability on it for me has been astonishing. I've loved it a lot. I was actually did not just play the game. Like I said, I played it first player. This is kind of where I would say that I would give it maybe an 8.5 out of 10, just because of some dockings coming from the story itself is pretty straightforward. I actually am not too mad about it. I did know that there was just like a little bit of wanting to know more, that obviously this is a brand new coming out, so there's going to be some things that they probably were thinking about as they were going along with, how far do we want to go in the lore of this game, since we're not sure if there will be a sequel. So there's a lot of things that are open-ended that you're obviously wanting to get more of, and that's fine. But that's kind of like the thing where it's like, be a little more driven would be more better, to be able to get more inside stories and scoops as to what the hell is really going on in each person's life. Like literally Marcus Phoenix, like I really wanted to know why he was in prison for 14 years. Like what the fuck's going on? And then I wanted to know more about Dom's side, which again was very vague. Everybody wanted to know more about, but it was very empty. And then coming across the final boss battle, like that was really anticlimactic. It's like everybody's saying, is like you just end up bumping this guy by accident and you guys just fight it off, and then that's the end of it. I was really hoping it'd be a lot more crazy, or at least more of a build up in a sense, to where you find out who this guy is, and eventually you end up coming to him, and that there's going to be a battle. Like, oh shit, here he is. Let's get it. Let's do this.
Let's do this.
Instead of we're just going to run into this guy by accident, and then we're going to take him off, and then that's the end of the story. And it was just like, come on, like there are a lot more there that could have been done.
Yeah,
but the versus mode, the multiplayer, was not able to play the multiplayer, unfortunately, because again, with my legit copy, I can't do that, because I know that I probably would have been able to get a lot more fun out of it. If anybody still plays Gears of War 1, I don't know. But
if servers even exist,
right? I don't know if they do. They probably don't. They're probably all shut down. But playing the versus actual like local play, I was playing with my daughter and myself. I even got 4 controllers hooked up, and we played a 2-on-2, and it was actually fun. I was taking it easy, of course, but it was just so cool. Everybody was just having a blast being the cogs or being the locusts, and then you could just change to those characters you wanted to be as, and then you're fucking running like, hurry up, get the torque bow. I'm gonna go get this assault rifle. You're just trying to take each other out. And so it's like, you're not just done with the story. You now can do other things that can keep the game constantly going, or like what Udon's talking about, is like, you're doing casual, everybody's doing casual. Well, they wanted to do normal. Let's spice things up a bit. Let's go a bit more intense with things. So it's like, there's a lot of things that are going on with it, and I know it was a lot different than most of these other games I've played in the past, where there was a lot of in sync with how the characters themselves felt like they actually were. There was a lot of things that were derived around them. Everything taking cover with the character. They had the special unique weapons. They had these crazy aliens that were really cool. Like it all kind of fit in the middle. And I kind of wanted to put myself to that point where I kind of tried to relive that event that I did back then, and look at the graphics and say that these actually did look pretty well. Even the color palette is really bad, but it still looked really well. I was really happy with it. The game graphics, the amount of gore that came out when you shot somebody felt really good. Like the shotgun, when you take somebody out and they blow up into pieces, it's just so fucking cool. And then the unlocking of the loading your weapons, and you hit that line just right, and now you get double damage and you're taking people out. It just all fit well with each other, and I just thought that is what really brought me into it. And the fact that I could actually still get that feeling again really had me wanting to make sure I gave this a really good rating. But again, there are some things that could be worked on. So, like I said, I would probably get this like an 8.5 out of 10 for me.
And I can agree with that. I totally understand. But yeah, that was Gears of War, everyone. So we're about 4 days out from the Switch 2 coming out next week. We're definitely, and me, Corey, and Edwin have our hands on it. We'll definitely probably be streaming it to Jordan to show him the Switch 2, which is definitely what we're going to be talking about next episode. But next month, I think we're gonna stay within the Xbox realm. Actually, no, it did come out. I guess it did come out for the PlayStation 3, didn't it?
Yes.
We're gonna be doing BioShock next month. Another shooter, kind of probably gonna be another shorter experience game, but a game that I really adore. I love BioShock. But yeah, that's next.
BioShock.
Once again, there's another one in the bank, but I think you'll like this one.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, we'll be talking a lot about the Switch 2 next month. We thought about doing like a Mario Kart World for the game of the month, but we'd rather keep doing it where everyone can play it, because you're probably not going to look into the Switch 2 too much.
Yeah.
But yeah, so lots of Switch 2 talk probably, and then BioShock next month, and probably some other stuff. So yeah, that's it. Thanks for joining for the Gears of War overview, and Jordan, you can take us out.
All right. Well, thank you, Udon, for today's episode. It was really cool. We got to get ourselves a little bit more further in the loop with Gears of War. We got our upcoming one coming in the near future for BioShock, so stay tuned for that. So, well, I guess we'll be wrapping it up for today. Don't forget to follow us on Spotify, Twitter, YouTube, and a Rumble channel so you never miss an episode. And to all you gamers out there, just remember to keep exploring, keep playing, and keep listening. Until next time, this is the Mediocre Rumble Brothers podcast signing off. Thanks for listening.
Hey, this is Corey, and thanks for checking out Mediocre Rumble Brothers. If you liked the video, please drop a like, and if you didn't, that's fine too. If you'd like us to talk about any specific games, drop a comment below, or feel free to discuss your experience with the games that we've mentioned in the episode. You can also listen to our episodes prior to YouTube on our Spotify. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you again soon.